Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
Listen, I just want to go to Haunted House. Actually, I want to go to Haunted House more than I want to go to Aqua. I heard there's a trap door. And I'm Ryan Whalen. Shout out to Tim Robinson. I think you should leave. And Tim Heidecker. I think that's one of my favorite skits.
You get into Club Aqua? Yeah.
How the fuck did you get into Club Aqua? Oh, I built their day.
I actually want to go to Haunted House more than I want to go to Club. That's so good.
There was a spike. Are you okay? Yeah, I was just jacking off. For 15 minutes, you were at Haunted House, weren't you? Don't lie and say you were jacking off when you were at Haunted House. Yeah, that skit's awesome. It came across my Instagram the other day.
Amazing.
I was like, dude, I have to use that. Yeah, I'm not bringing the bits back because clearly it's not working. But I was like, I have to do that. I have to that. Like, you know, I want to go to Haunted House more than I want to go to Aqua. You know, dude. And it's Tim's delivery, and then of course Tim Robinson just being like annoyed that his doctor is monitoring him. So dude, I was telling you off mic that Mom went and saw Disclosure Day. She said it was really good.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you should really see it. And I was like, look, I'm going to be honest. It's not that I don't want to see a Spielberg movie in theaters. Because if I'm being honest, I don't think it's been a while since I've seen a Spielberg film in theaters. Because I didn't see The Fabelmans in theaters. And so I was like, you know, it's not that I don't want to see it. It's that I kind of have no interest to see it. Like,
that's fair.
There's other movies I really want to see in theaters. Like, I really want to see fucking like I said last week, I want to see Toy Story 5.
Yeah.
I want to check out Supergirl, you know, just to see if it's as mid as everyone says it is. But like, I don't know, man. Like, and again, it's nothing to do with Spielberg. I think we've talked enough on the show. I love Spielberg, but I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's on my I have to go see it list, you know?
I get it.
You know. Plus, apparently, according to my mom, you need to rewatch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And even though I love that movie, I'm like, I shouldn't have to rewatch a movie to go see a new one. Like, especially one that was made over.
Well, I mean, it's like I think maybe she's thinking like maybe for the vibes, like the vibes are the same. Maybe
I think so,
but it's like, you know, that might not be necessary. I mean, unless you just want to like have like a day where you're just in these specific Spielberg alien, you know, vibes. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that might be completely necessary. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell you. And you're right. I you know, we're aligning in this sort of way of thinking where I just don't have any interest for it, I guess. And I think if this movie came out like before like I was married and had a child, maybe I'd go see it. But it's like,
okay,
I don't get the chance to go to the movies that often, so it's like I really like if there's a hint that I don't care, I'm not going, because it's like I'm not going to waste a time I can go to the movies on something that I might not care about, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Steven, if you're listening, we love you, we do, but I don't know, man. Maybe Disclosure Day is not for us. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, if Spielberg is listening,
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Check out our Jaws episode.
Hey, yeah. We did
But
a whole episode on Jaws.
we did, and it's been, it's the best. I love Jaws.
Yeah.
I so funny. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing you've done, Mr. Spielberg. It's just, how it is. Maybe you
Imagine
don't. I don't know.
imagine he's sitting there, phone in hand, listening to the show, and he's like, "Is this something I said?" Like,
But let me tell you something that I think Spielberg would really appreciate,
Okay.
and that is expressing oneself on your wrist. Spielberg, let me put you on to freestyle watches real fast. So
That was a good segue.
thank you. So another big shout out to Freestyle Watches for letting us be a brand ambassador for them. If you haven't listened to our previous episodes where we're boasting about freestyle, they do not pay us. They do not give us free stuff. This is just something that we applied for and they accepted. And so the one I'm wearing right now, as you can see, is the octopus. They have lots of different cool styles. They have the original size and then the mini sizes. So you can have a smaller case size on your wrist for those with smaller wrists or smaller hands. Again, with like the clip, which is what I have, or they have Velcro. They have Apple watch bands as well. So you don't have to transition back to a regular watch if you are addicted to your Apple Watch or just feel like you have to wear it because you're paying for it. So go check out Freestyle at freestyleusa.com and use promo code Reservo7 for 10% off your purchase at checkout. So
yeah. Again, shout out to Freestyle. We really appreciate it. For a second there, I was like, "Where's he going with that?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah,
have to." We're contractually not really obligated.
We're non-disclosure contractually obligated to maybe say something, maybe not.
I mean, who's to say?
Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. And in case you miss it on the Instagram or our link tree, go check out Freestyle. Grab yourself a watch, grab yourself a watch band, and enjoy that 10% off with our code Reservo7.
And to be fair, also in terms of like watches in general, they're fairly inexpensive to begin with.
I would agree.
I
would agree for a good quality watch.
Yep.
That's really well made. You don't have to break the bank for that.
That's right. So anyway, so I do want to say before we get started with the episode that I finished The Sopranos.
Oh shit,
dude, it's so good.
Did you see that? Apparently, I don't know how true it is. I didn't, the internet. That supposedly they're doing a remaster on 4K pretty soon.
Yeah, I did see that they're releasing it on 4K. It's got a really nice box set for it, which is cool. I probably won't be buying it. I have the Blu-rays, so I'm okay.
I was gonna say because you already have it. Yeah,
I got the Blu-rays. I'm good. I mean, it probably looks stellar on 4K, obviously, but man, dude, The Sopranos is so good. If you haven't watched it, you should. Or if you have lied to impress a girl about watching The Sopranos, go ahead and just start watching it. Because she was right. It's good.
Dude, imagine that girl actually listens to the show and she was like, "That son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
I'm going to track him down now and do to him what they do to everyone in The Sopranos."
Yep.
But dude, that's rad, man. I mean, this isn't in as great as news as the finishing The Sopranos, but I finally caught up with Scrubs
Nice.
finally. I skipped season 9. I tried. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna to actually say I completed the original run of Scrubs. I'm gonna watch season 9. Gonna power through it. I think I got about halfway through that first episode and was like, yeah, can't do this. It's tonally different than the other 8 seasons of Scrubs. It doesn't feel like Scrubs. Like everyone feels like they're playing a version of the character they've been playing. So I just said fuck it, went right to the reboot. The reboot's great. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it skips season 9 altogether. Although I have questions like, why did they never mention Sam? Like, where's Sam?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Kim.
Hmm.
Um, and I kind of want to know what thing caused JD and Elliot's marriage to fall apart.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really enjoyed the reboot, and I'm really
Yeah.
glad that they got renewed for season 2. Maybe season 2 will be longer. I was a little disappointed.
I know it was really
Uh,
short. You know.
yeah, and even though I loved it, episode 9 felt a little too rushed in a lot of things. Like
It's
that,
just
Dr. Cox and JD are kind of friends now,
yeah.
as JD helps him with his treatment, and like, but maybe Bill Lawrence was a little worried they wouldn't get renewed for season 2, so it's like, all right, let's tie it up just in case.
It is just so bizarre, just like how different TV is now. Because like
Yeah,
with Scrubs, the original run, like seasons were like 20 episodes. You
yeah.
know?
I think the original show was like, I think the longest season had like 20 episodes. The
Yeah.
shortest season, I think, was season 6. I think it had 11. But
Sure.
even
That was
then,
probably during the writer's strike.
but even then, it had double digits. And
Yeah.
then the reboot only has 9.
9. It's so weird. You know?
Yeah,
Just
and this
how
premiered on, and that premiered on TV too, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just TV is so different now that
Yeah,
like we're lucky to get double digits in episodes for a show like this. Like I would want double digits of a show like that. And
yeah,
then but see, it's also the same, it's same but different, because like I'll see something online about like a really cool documentary that seems really interesting, right?
uh,
And then I'll go on Netflix or whatever, and it's fucking 4 episodes. I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm not watching 4 episodes for this documentary. It's insane. Like, just give
yeah.
me 2 hours, man.
It's
Like,
essentially a 4-hour documentary.
oh my
Yeah,
god, and it's just like stretched out for no reason, you know?
yeah. Like, all right, now we're gonna tell you about the killer's favorite restaurant for a full episode.
I just get so mad about that. Yeah.
Yeah. But now that I've caught up with Scrubs, now I'm like trying to decide what I need to watch now. I may legitimately do what I told you, like just go through each one of my different streamers and be like, all right, like what am I watching now? Like,
Yeah.
I have started once again, because I've still never completed it. Restarting Frasier. Fucking
Okay.
love Frasier, dude. Frasier's so fucking good, man. Although I did learn there is one episode in season 1 I don't like. It's a little too cringe.
Nah.
Oh, it's too awkward, in my opinion. It's the one. We'll get into the episode, everyone. Hang on, just 1 second. Actually, you know what? No, if I keep going on Frasier, I won't stop.
It's true.
But point being, I finished
Right.
Scrubs, caught up with Scrubs.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna peruse the streamers and lock in on a streamer and just catch up on everything. I think Prime might be my first one. I got to watch The Boys, Invincible, Spider-Man Noir.
I mean, you could watch Death Note with me. I'm watching Death Note right now.
That's true. Yeah. As I admitted to you off mic, I have never completed Death Note.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, because it's a good segue, Jeremy, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so today we are discussing the cyberpunk mystery thriller action crime drama sci-fi epic, I would say, 1995's Ghost in the Shell.
So we were kind of talking a little bit about it off mic. So how did you kind of stumble upon this?
I mean, I'd heard about it before. I mean, it's fairly very famous. Um,
Just a
it's
little bit.
I mean, it's one of those where it's like I knew about Akira years before I even thought about watching it. It's the same with Ghost in the Shell, I think. And in my old life, when I was very apprehensive and very close minded about Japanese animation, I was just like, it's that's for that's for those people,
That's for
Um,
the weebs.
that's right. And I'd gotten curious about it. I was starting to I had started Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is rad, right? Um, and so I was getting more comfortable with the idea of me watching Japanese animation. And then Lionsgate put out the 4K Steelbook anniversary
Mm.
edition for Ghost in the Shell, and I saw it at Best Buy. That's an old-fashioned sentence. And
Yeah, for real.
I saw it there, and I was like, you know what? Let's go. And I picked it up, and I watched it, and I loved it. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. I thought it was so innovative. I thought um, it was so complex in its philosophy and in its ideas of humanity and in self. I thought it was so well animated. Like, and we'll talk about it, but there are certain scenes where I'm watching and go, that looks incredible. You know,
Yeah.
it's just jaw droppingly great. Um, I don't think it's as smooth or as technically difficult as like Akira was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're still looking at remarkable animation. And of course, like you can see the decades of people ripping this movie off. you know, Once you see it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay. You know, the Wachowskis have some explaining to do. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, I was blown away by it. I thought it was so good, and I can't wait to talk about it. What about you?
Yeah. And yeah, just like I'd heard of it, uh, the difference between you and I though is I was really steeped in anime, especially in high school. Um, so I'd always known about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll check it out. And I just never got around to it. And then, as we were kind of talking about off mic, 2016 is when they released the live action version
Mhm.
with Scarlett Johansson, and I kind of wanted to check that out, especially because I was working with a guy at my former job, Simply Mac, who was a huge fan of Ghost in the Shell, and he was like, "Yeah, the Wachowskis directly ripped it off," and I was like, "What?" And then he showed me a couple scenes from the version we're talking about today, and I was like, "Holy shit!" It's like, yeah, they did. Um, and so, and then that's when the live action was about to come out, and he was like, "Yeah, I wonder how many people are going to be like, oh, this ripped off the Matrix." And so I was like, "All right, I need to, I need to educate myself." And so I saw the original, the one we're talking about today, and I was blown away, just
Yeah,
like you. I was like, where has this been all my life? Like, this is awesome. I eventually did see the live action. I did not go see it in theaters. Best Buy was having a sale on steelbooks. This was the live action version was like $5.
nice.
I was like, sure, why not? And yeah, the live action one obviously does not hold a candle. I will say Scarlett Johansson does a great job as Major. I think she is the saving grace of that version, but it's not a good movie. Like, it's, as we were talking about with the Death Note adaptation, it kind of, it doesn't, I wouldn't, unlike the Death Note adaptation, I don't think it sucks all the soul out of Ghost in the Shell, but it does kind of, it undermines a lot of character beats, and it focuses too much on Major's past, as we'll get into, with Major. And I think that was kind of the downfall. of the live action one. Um, and so getting to rewatch it, not the live action one, getting
Yeah.
to rewatch the animated one for the episode was awesome. I was like, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. Um, I would agree. You know, not as technically impressive as Akira, but it's impressive nonetheless. You
Yeah.
know, it. I think every Japanese animated film we've done thus far, each one has had its own. Like, there's a reason these movies are so critically acclaimed, and so beloved. But I'm gonna shut up so you can tell everyone what Ghost in the Shell is about, and then we can really get into it.
Sure. So Ghost in the Shell follows our main protagonist, Major. She has a full name as well, but I don't
Uh,
really want to get into that. Um, so she is an officer in Section 9. Section 9 is sort of a black ops sort of police force. And they are tracking down a hacker um, that calls itself the Puppet Master, who is hacking into people's augmented brains to um, to change their memories and have them do his bidding. Right.
mhm,
Um, Once they track him down, they realize that the Puppet Master is a sentient um, synthetic consciousness um, that wants to sort of regain the power that it felt that it was being taken away from him because he was just being used for um, certain political and I don't know, like used for power, right?
mhm,
And political gain. And once it gained sentience, it wanted to gain that power back, right? And once they capture the puppet master and um, and Major interrogates it by connecting to it, it's asked to join and combine itself with Major, right?
mhm,
Major is a cyborg with a human brain, um,
mhm,
and it wants to become more than just a a sentient operating system, basically, and it wants to take the next step in its evolution and combine with a human brain and a human life form. And the movie ends with them combining and becoming one entity. And the movie ends with the Major puppet master hybrid walking out into the world and looking at all of the opportunities it has to expand even further. Uh,
mhm.
and that's Ghost in the Shell. Basically.
Yeah. Um, you know, and this is something I'll just go ahead and bring up now that I love about this movie, as I just kind of mentioned at the top of the show, is we don't need to know the Major's past. Like we know she has a past, but we don't need to know who she was before all this.
I mean, I agree with you only because like this movie does something that I really enjoy in other movies, especially David Fincher movies, which this movie has a standalone opening credit sequence, um,
Mm-hmm.
which I really like. But that is Major's past. Like this is all we need, right? Um, it is her being manufactured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can even argue that it isn't Major, right? It's one of the other um, models that looks like her, right? That we see
Mm-hmm.
throughout the city in one of the slower moments of the film, which I love, and we'll get to those. Um, but even so, like I mean, that you're right. That's really all we need to know. I feel like not once did I feel like, huh, I wonder what she used to do. right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, that has that I like, it never once crossed my mind, right? Like, um, all I need to know is that she's a cyborg, and she does have some human, um, some human attributes, her brain, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I just really like in this world, again, it's cyberpunk, which means like it's this futuristic, grungy, dirty, um, sort of like it reminds me of like Brazil, right?
Okay. Okay. I could see
Especially
that.
when the one of the garbage men, the one that's hacking into the system, um, he has to use that card and it sort of scans it and it does all that stuff, like the machine
Hmm.
itself, like taking the card and running it through the thing. I was like, that's very Brazil to me. Like it's older technology, but it's in the future. You know,
Right. Hmm.
it's almost like in Brazil when they put the magnifying glasses in front of their computer screens, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I really really like that aesthetic. I think it's really cool, and I like that everyone sort of has something that they've done to themselves, except for
Hmm.
our transferred beat cop, um, who's a part of Section
Um.
9.
Uh. Togusa.
Mm,
Togusa.
he's great.
Togusa.
Um, and he also like to even add more metaphor to his character. Um, his choice of weapon, his revolver, um, is unique in that it's analog.
Hmm.
It's not enhanced. It's reliable, but it's not as um, I guess as efficient or as state of the art as what everyone else uses, right?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
he's
I
not.
think. Yeah. I think the only thing that Major said that he has had done is like minor like brain augmentation,
Well,
but
I think
nothing.
that's how they're able to communicate
Yes. Yeah.
with each other. I think that's the
And
only thing.
then yeah, and then yeah, she said, but the pretty much
Yeah,
99.9% of them is human.
yeah, um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. And that's something I appreciate as well because it kind of looking at Major as obviously she is sort of the the team lead of Section 9. She's
Mhm,
not the head of Section 9, but she's the team lead. Um, I feel like that gives her a way to still connect to her humanity. This person that she has to put her trust in, you know, fully, who's not augmented, who's gonna have her back, who's going to um do like pretty much carry the same weight as her and Batu, um, who both Major and him are fully augmented. Um, but I really enjoy the that added detail that
mhm.
like there's pretty much a full human on the team that they trust.
Well, and it goes into like the full, like big picture idea of the film itself, which is this
Hmm.
idea of it's sort of Blade Runner esque, which is like this idea of self sentience,
Hmm.
humanity, right?
Hmm.
And also just the idea of like it's it's almost religious in some aspects, but especially at the end. We'll get to that in a minute, but um the idea of like taking the next step in your evolution, you know,
Hmm.
as like almost as improvement or whatever. But we'll get to that. What I want to talk about right now is how impressed I am by this movie only being 83 minutes long. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
However, the movie takes its time with things, right? There are moments,
Mhm.
and I am just like, again, so impressed. I'm in awe of these moments where the scene where they are chasing the guy through the city, who was leaving the cards for the garbage, right?
Mhm.
When they're chasing him through the city, there are moments where we're following him evade capture from Section 9, but we're sort of like, we're not taking 6 cuts, right? It's
Right.
just one, right? And we're following him, and he's taking the time to sort of stand, look around, catch his breath, keep going, right?
Mhm.
And it's remarkable. You know, there was also a moment at the end of that scene, um, which probably my favorite action sequence in the whole movie is where they're fighting in the ankle deep water, right?
Mhm.
Unreal. It's so good, right? Um,
Yeah.
but Batu puts his jacket on Major, and you think the scene's about to end because he talks about um, how sad it is to see humans with with hacked brains, right? That they've
Mhm.
lost all sense of themselves, they don't have any memories anymore, that they've completely just been erased, right? And you
Yes.
think the scene's over, and you're expecting it just to cut to whatever's next, right? But
Mhm.
he takes a beat, and he looks up, and here comes a helicopter, right? And it's that moment where there's stillness for a beat until he
Mhm.
looks up, and then the scene continues. And that's so unusual for animation. Animation
Yeah.
doesn't usually take its time that way to extend a scene longer than efficiently necessary, right? Um,
Right.
Other scenes are like the scene where we're just world building, where we're just um, like taking a tour of the city they're in, basically,
Mhm.
and seeing those copies of Major, um, showing that yes, she is an individual, is unique, but her body is not. Um,
Mhm.
and at first, I thought one of them was Major the first time I saw it, and then whenever the puppet master gets hit by the car and brought to Section 9, I go, "Oh, that wasn't. Neither of those were her." you know,
Yeah.
because she's wearing different clothes. And so it's like, okay, so this really is to show us sort of the world we're in, which we've been in for about maybe 30 minutes, you know? Um,
Mhm.
but the film takes its time to do that. And it's, giving us visual language and in visual information that will become important um, and sort of metaphorical for later on, sort of
Mhm.
foreshadowing, um, like Major being torn to pieces at the end, right?
Yeah.
Um, like there's some foreshadowing with like garbage in the water um and things like that during that montage. But it doesn't seem necessary on paper, right? But watching
Mhm.
the movie, I mean, it's so magnetic um to watch. And again, it's just that having the time to really flesh out this world and to tell a story with full world building. And I think without any of this movie would just be an hour of television, I think.
Okay.
Um which is less interesting, and like like, to take all that stuff out, to, like, take out the beats, to take out this, seemingly unimportant montage, which it's not unimportant, obviously, because I just stated so,
Yeah.
um, but you would think that you wouldn't need that, especially for a movie like this.
Hmm.
Um, and for as short as it is, you don't expect there to be much downtime. You expect there to be wall to wall action and just things happening, right? We're following our protagonists, you know, every scene, every scene there's dialogue, there's exposition, every scene there's action, every scene there's something happening. And this
Hmm.
movie is just a breath of fresh air where it's like it's not, but it doesn't take away from the impact the movie gives you, which I think is just excellent.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, like I mentioned, every animated film, Japanese animated film we've done has, done something different. I'm going to use Perfect Blue as an example
Sure.
because Perfect Blue is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, yes, there are those beats, but in a movie that's showing us like the psychological aspect of, fame and the psychological toll that's going on to our character, then yeah, obviously there's going to be these moments of stillness and these beats. But like you just said, in a film that's sci-fi and very cyberpunky, you would think it would be action around every corner, but I think that's what adds to the philosophical questions of the film, of identity and self, is that the movie itself is taking its time. you know
Yeah.
um I might be off the mark, but I think that's why the filmmakers really wanted to make sure that like the audience is understanding kind of the questions the film is posing to everyone.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. No, I agree. And I love that the movie starts out very traditional. That's in quotes because it's innovative throughout, right? From its
right.
opening moments, right? It's changing the landscape of not only animated action but just sci-fi action in general, right? And sci-fi visuals and ideas, right? It's always pushing the boundary of innovation in those ideas. However, I will say that before we even get to the Puppet Master, it's very much a sci-fi action movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once we meet the Puppet Master and we understand what's going on, it's a different movie now. Now we're talking about um the philosophical side of it. And then that's where the movie sort of shifts to um the visuals um and different like set pieces and designs and architecture matters and it's meaning something, right? Like in that final set
Mm-hmm.
piece, where the tank is, of course, filling the place full of bullets, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Major is trying to evade all the bullets so it could run out. And there's a tree of life there on the wall, and at the top it's humans, right? Or is at the very top, and the tank just shreds it to pieces, right? And it's almost like it's saying like humans may not be at the top any longer, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now we have the idea of the puppet master, which is a basically sentient code, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
sentient. It's not really AI. I wouldn't call it AI. I would just say it's like a you know um like a sentient software, right?
Yeah.
And I really love that visual language, right? This director also directed Angel's Egg in the 80s,
Okay.
which is another very famous anime that that was
I think
on
I've
my
heard of
list
that
on
one.
HBO, and I lost HBO, so I haven't watched it yet. And the 4K is so expensive. Um, but anyway, I will watch it eventually. I'll find a way. But um, there are a few like direct references to Angel's Egg, and then there's some subtle ones. Angel's Egg also deals with similar philosophies um,
Okay.
in a futuristic sci-fi realm. Um, and I like that he's sort of bringing that over to this as well, and having references to that. The feathers at the end are also references to Angel's Egg, um, where Major is combining with the puppet master
Okay.
before getting blown to smithereens. And there's even an angel at the very end as well when through let's see I think its Major is still connected to the puppet master at that time, so it's
I think
through
it's,
their eyes.
and yeah, Batu's trying to, because he
Right.
knows a bullet's coming. He's trying
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah. And so you can see the angel, and it's metaphorical, of course, because there's not an angel really there. But it's almost to be like a the transcendence into this other realm. Like it's not necessarily meant to be like a heaven or an afterlife, but it is the afterlife for the puppet master, which is combining with a human consciousness. Um, Sort of just skipped to the end there. I apologize, but
No,
um,
you're fine.
but again, this movie is so good because it's balancing both a traditional sci-fi action crime drama and then this deep philosophical complex idea, and really just seamlessly balancing these things, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the conversation that Major and Batu have on the boat um, about Major's sort of outlook on what it is to be alive, right? And what it is to have this cyborg body but have a human brain, right? And what does that mean to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and because Batu's like, I don't know why you're even risking going scuba diving. Like that's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and some of it might seem on the surface to be sort of expositional and a little heavy-handed, but
Mm-hmm.
I like that they explain what she was wearing, because like she doesn't need oxygen, I don't think. Uh, but
Yeah.
it's to keep her from sinking because she's so heavy.
Mm.
I kind of like that, but
No.
um, but again, like even the her explaining that they are so heavily augmented, and what life is like in this space and in this time, like you can't the average person can't get drunk anymore, you know
Mm-hmm.
um is sort of interesting. And again, it seems unimportant, or it seems expositional, or it seems like maybe a little heavy-handed, but I don't think so. I think that the way this movie is written and the way this movie is laid out, that things are spoken very matter of fact, but also in this sort of introspective, philosophical way of trying to make sense of who you are if you are not fully you, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and that's, and like, I'm not trying to shit on the live action adaptation, but that's another area I think that version fails on eloquently like explaining that. I feel like this film does it in a way where it still leaves an air of question, you know. Um, but the live action version doesn't really capture that. And again, they focus way too much on Major's past and also essentially fully changing the puppet master into a failed experiment from the thing that the new company that they use, because in this film it's Megatech, and for the live action it's called Hanukkah Technologies.
Hmm.
And the puppet master was the first experiment of a fully augmented human, and he wants revenge, and because he and Major were actually activists protesting against augmentation, and then they were kidnapped, and it ruins sort of the, I guess you'd say, naivete of Puppet Master in this film. It wants to um live in a augmented body that has a real brain, because eventually that real brain will die, and he wants to know what that's like.
Mhm.
And of course also reproducing, and that's why he gravitates to Major, because Major is also kind of doubting her humanity, and especially with that scene with Batu, and you know the differences in what makes, like, are they any less human because they can't get drunk, and I think if the live action version had kind of focused on that subtlety and still that lingering question, I think it would have been able to capture a lot of what this film has, this atmosphere. But I think for an American audience, even though an American audience has already seen Ghost in the Shell, they were like, oh, well, Major and Puppet Master need to have some sort of connection.
Hmm.
And it's like, they don't really. The Puppet Master has been essentially watching Major, and that's the reason why he chose Major. But again, I love that they still leave room for questions, for an air of doubt in a way,
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think that's why this movie is so interesting and why I keep coming back to it. This is the third time I've seen it. Um, because it it's not afraid to be this fun action movie, but also be a deep philosophical exploration of human and self and all the things we've been talking about. I think that, from what I understand, you're right, the live action just does away with all that stuff, which is sort of the point of why Ghost in the Shell originally is so good and so successful. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think, the live action falls under that unfortunate trap, which is we need to extend it because it's not long enough, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Which is a shame because by extending it, you're adding things that are unnecessary, but leaving out things that make the story compelling and rewatchable, and
Mm-hmm.
things to think about after the movie's over, right? Um,
Yeah, because truth be told, how the live action one ends, Major gets, fragments of her memory back, realizing who Puppet Master was, which they give him a name. They call him Kuze. Um, that's who Michael Pitt plays.
I see.
And he kind of wants to do what this version of the Puppet Master does, which is he wants to leave with Major, like leave this place. He does end up dying. Major apparently makes amends with her, who was once her mother, and then goes back to work at Section 9. Like, I feel like that kind of undermines who Major becomes by the end of this film, which is she's neither Major nor Puppet Master. She's something new entirely now.
Right.
And how the movie ends is the world is hers for the taking now.
Yeah.
Like, it's the opportunities that she now has are endless.
Right.
And that's in my opinion, a better arc for her character, especially, again, with that scene of her and Batu talking about what does it mean to be human, like, are we any less human? And now she, I feel like, has kind of regained not only her humanity, but she knows she's kind of more than just a human now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
And
think,
then the live action just kind of undermines all that.
Well, I think she finally has a grasp on the benefits of both, of her synthetic self and then her human biological self. And I'd be interested to see, because I know there's sequels. And like I said, I have the show. Now remembering how the movie ends, it's sort of like, I don't know how the show would work if it's a sequel to the movie. I don't know if it is or not. It might be a prequel series.
Which show do you have? Is it
Standalone Complex is the one I have.
I believe it's a retelling.
Oh, okay.
So it's because I was doing a lot of research on that today, because the sequel, Ghost in the Shell 2, Innocence, is a standalone sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Major's not really in it, I think, until the very end.
I see.
The story, from what I understand, mainly focuses on Batu and like kind of him continuing with Section 9. And then Standalone Complex, I believe, is just a retelling of the movie.
Okay, cool. Either way, I guess that makes sense, because once you end a movie like this, it's sort of like, well, you can't just go back to Section 9. Like, she's not gonna, because she's not her anymore, technically. Especially in this smaller body that she has. So there is something that I thought was really interesting, and I thought I understood it, and then I was doing some research and I didn't understand it the way that I thought I did, which is at the very, very end, where we have this sort of grainy, sort of POV style shot of Major, what I thought was her looking at herself in a mirror, right? Because there's a lot of reflection motifs that are happening in this movie, right? So I'm like, okay, that's what this is, because when we cut to her, and the footage is different. It's more, like, the objective view, is everything is reversed. It's backwards, or reversed from the first shot where we see her in her new body. When she's leaving, though, and we see the chair in front of her as she's leaving, walking forward, it's not a reflection because it's empty, and we don't see a reflection of her in front of it. And so it's like, well, then now I don't understand. Because now it's like, was she seeing like a version of herself across the room in that other chair, or what? I don't know. Because now that it's not a mirror, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I had that thought too. I never really clocked it the first time I seen it, but this time I was like, wait,
Yeah.
Like, is this just a shot zooming in, or is this a mirror? And I,
See, yeah, because again, like it would make perfect sense if it was a mirror because of all the reflection that's going on um, in the film, but not this time. I'm like, I don't know.
yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, I kind of broke my brain too, because I was like, then who's looking at her?
I mean, literal seconds before the movie ends, you know,
Yeah.
like you don't even have time to process that just happened.
Well, and I also love the detail that her voice is different for a little bit, and then it switches,
Yeah,
back to uh almost like her her software caught up,
sure.
you know. Uh yeah, but man, I could see, look, I'm not going to make an argument for the Wachowskis, but I could see why they were so inspired by something like this to develop the Matrix,
How could you
like
not?
this,
You know?
yeah, like this idea of a human consciousness in a, augmented reality. Of course, what they decided to do is have it be in software, which isn't a full ripoff. Um, instead of humans just having augmented bodies. But and like subsequent films, you know I'm sure Denis Villeneuve used a lot of the motifs for Blade Runner 2049. You know, like how the replicants were sort of created for that version of Blade Runner. Uh, it is a bit of a letdown that, again, I'm going to bring up the live action Ghost in the Shell one more time. Um, like it, I read that it was praised for its visuals, but like I looked back at a lot of the stills because I was like, I did fight the urge to rewatch it just because I
Mhm.
was like, I'm just kind of curious. But I looked back at a lot of the stills and a lot of the visual language. I also feel like was lost in live action. You know,
I agree.
which of course it's hard to adapt anything, especially from animation to live action.
Mhm.
It's that's probably why Moana is not going to do very good. But it's, I guess I'm making a case where I could see why someone who would be so inspired by this that they want to use a lot of this imagery and motif for their film.
Well, and it's not just first off, I can't believe you went with Villeneuve instead of Ridley Scott, but that's fine. I think that Ridley Scott for
Well,
Blade
because
Runner, the first
his
one,
but that was before the movie.
that's true. Um, but see, Ridley Scott, and you're right. But I need to find out when the manga was written.
That's true. Here,
That's true.
you keep talking. I'll look that up for you.
So, but you're right. So yeah, you're right. The Blade Runner world with 2049, I'm sure was influenced a little bit by Ghost in the Shell, but really, like, besides the Matrix, which I mean is just obvious, right? Because you have the green and black numbers.
There's a 7-year difference. Blade Runner was 82. Ghost in the Shell's manga first came out in 1989.
Good. Okay. Well, never mind then. So obviously Wachowskis have a lot of explaining to do because the green and black
Yeah.
text, the plugs on the back of their necks, uh
Oh yeah. Oh
that's
shit. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Like that's so rippy offy. But Jonathan Nolan, with Westworld,
Oh
um
yeah. Mm-hmm.
sort of used the way that they make the hosts, right? Um
Mm-hmm.
in the park is a lot like the opening title sequence. Um they're both title sequences are very similar. Um with Westworld and with Ghost in the Shell. Um man, dude, season 1 of Westworld is so good. I don't know if you've seen it. It's incredible.
That's another show that's been on my list for
Dude, you
like
have
ever.
to see Westworld. The first season is just to die for. It's so good. But he has a lot to thank um, for this movie, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Um, I mean, this movie's just so influential, and it's so inspiring, and it's so technically unique and visually stunning, and has its ideas fully formed. And I think that's why it's so inspiring. It's just people see something that's fully formed and knows how to implement those ideas on screen and within a story. And it's so good. And that's the reason why I've seen it so many times so far. Um and then it's so honestly, I think the length has a lot to do with its rewatchability too, because it's so short.
Mm-hmm.
Um this movie's rad. Um
I agree, man.
yeah.
I think it is sort of on the Mount Rushmore of what you could call, gateway, anime.
I would say so.
Cowboy Bebop also up there. Um, this is sort of that bridge. I feel like that'll get you from, like what you've said in our Akira and our Perfect Blue episode, from Japanese anime or Japanese animation to anime. Maybe this film probably helped people, branch out more. And but this movie's just rad.
Mhm.
Um, one last thing I'll say about the live action: they tried a lot of some of the iconic shots from this, like Major, wiping over her face and then she's fully invisible.
Mhm.
They tried that, didn't really work. They tried the fight in the ankle high water. It's all right. There's a lot of things they really try to recreate, like of course, Major fighting the spider tank and just getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah.
It's I understand that they were trying, but like it just doesn't work the same
Mhm.
in live action,
I agree. Some things can just stay animated, and that's okay.
I agree. With that being said, buddy, are you ready to wrap up?
I am. I think this movie's incredible. I think everyone should see it, especially if you're into sci-fi, or the cyberpunk subgenre. I think it's so cool. And like it's just, I don't know what else I can say besides like it's both incredibly exciting and compelling and entertaining while also being intellectual and art house in some ways too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree. And if anyone out there were to watch it, be sure you don't watch Ghost in the Shell 2.0, which was the 2008 re-release.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently put in new like CGI effects, and everyone said it's not good. Like it really like kind of takes you out of it a little bit.
That's true.
So if anyone were to watch this digitally, just be sure it is the 1995 version, not the 2008 version.
Got it.
Again, how you can know is if it says Ghost in the Shell 2.0. That's how you'll know. But yeah, man. So, are you ready to hear what we're going to talk about next week?
Yeah.
So, when I was making my list of Disney films, there was one that I was like, oh, we got to talk about that one. But then I stopped myself. Because unfortunately, it wasn't made by Disney or even distributed by Disney. And, as one of my rules is Disney has to be involved, or it has to be distributed and produced by Disney, of course.
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit was the sort of asterisk to that because it was released by a subsidiary of Disney, but Disney bought the right. Disney owned the rights of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So, but the film that I had in mind, I was like, it's like fuck, like Disney was not involved in any way. In fact, let me see. Hang on 2 seconds. Hang on.
Yeah,
Everyone, shut up. Shut up. In fact, Disney didn't technically fully own the rights of this franchise until 2004. And so we couldn't talk about it. We couldn't talk about this 1979 film. So I was left with no choice but to put on the 2011 version, which honestly is still really good. It still fits into the franchise very well. And, I really love the film, and I think you're going to be really excited. So next week, everyone, we're going to be talking about the 2011 film, The Muppets. Not the Muppet movie, The Muppets. Because unfortunately, again, like I just gave all that away. The Muppet movie was not produced, distributed, nothing. Disney was not involved in any way. Of course, Disney would later do some of their films, like Muppet Treasure Island, The Great Muppet Caper, and then they fully bought the Muppets in 2004. But I chose the Muppets over Muppet Treasure Island, even though I love Muppet Treasure Island.
I know.
I chose the Muppets because that's the closest to the Muppet movie. I really wanted to talk about the Muppet movie, but I can't because that breaks my rule.
Right.
But The Muppets is as close as we can get to it, with the same comedy style, and kind of the same, I wouldn't say the full same premise, but there's a lot of references to the Muppet movie, and this is known. I love Jason Segel. That's true. And if I were ever to get to meet him, I will absolutely thank him for bringing the Muppets back, because I don't think they'd had a movie in theaters since Muppets from Outer Space, I think. The one about Gonzo. Right. So this was like, the first time they'd been in the theaters, and I just gotta say, one final criticism before I let you speak. Even though I love Disney, and I do like that they own the rights to the Muppets, I'm deeply disappointed that they are underutilizing the Muppets. Shout out to Seth Rogen for letting him convince Disney to let him bring back the Muppet Show, even just for a special. But I'm really disappointed that Disney is really underutilizing the Muppets. Case in point, if anyone has been to Disney World, they completely tore down the Muppet Courtyard, where they had Muppet Vision 3D and Rizzo's Pizzeria. And that's where they're putting the Monsters, Inc. area. Okay. Right on top of that. Sure, yes, the Muppets are still in Hollywood Studios. They took over Rock and Roller Coaster from Aerosmith, so it's not Rock and Roller Coaster with Aerosmith. It's Rock and Roller Coaster with the Muppets. But come on, Disney. Like, you gotta use them more. Like, there's no reason why y'all bought the Muppets if you're not gonna use them.
Right.
Anyway, do you have anything to add?
No, I haven't seen it. So I don't.
Wait, you've never seen the Muppets?
This one, no.
Dude,
yeah,
you're gonna love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've seen the Muppet movie.
But I haven't. Yeah, I haven't seen this one with Jason Segel. I've used the GIF of the Muppet guy running.
Of Walter running.
Yeah, I've used that 100 times, but
yeah, you're gonna love it, man. Again, it's got a lot of the same comedy as as the first Muppet movie. I love that it's a musical, which is also the same as the Muppet movie.
Yep.
If it's been a while since you've seen the Muppet movie, I'd probably recommend watching, because there's a lot. They make a lot of references to it, but I wouldn't say it's required. I will tell you right now, and I'm sure you're disappointed. Muppets Most Wanted is not on my list.
It's
mainly because
not.
I didn't really want to watch that one. Mainly because Jason Segel wasn't involved. He wasn't. He apparently was asked to come back, but he said, like, I did the thing I set out to do, which is bring the Muppets back. What happens after that, I'm not involved. And I've heard Muppets Most Wanted are it's not as good as the Muppets.
Sure.
but cool. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Please tell me you're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode on Ghost in the Shell, and we'll see you next week for the Muppets.